Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. The Oilers have a 2-1 series lead over the Dallas Stars. Trying to go 3 games up against the Dallas Stars. The Stars trying to even the series, going back to Dallas for game number 5. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Max, and the Stars have struggled for sure on the road. They need a huge road victory to even the series up at 2 here in the Western Conference Final, to send it back to Dallas even at 2 in the series. Stars have struggled offensively. Wyatt Johnson has had 1 goal in the last 9 games. Duchesne only has a goal in these playoffs, and it came in this series in Game 1 when they came back from 3-1 down and won it 6-3. Mason Marchment has not scored in a while either for the Dallas Stars. Robertson got a goal, but it was just basically Bischel's shot. He didn't even know it was his goal. And the offense needs to get going for the Dallas Stars. They felt like they played their best game, and some missed calls resulted into some breaks for the Oilers. Zach Hyman with 2 goals in the last game. Nugent Hopkins with 3 assists with 4 shots in that game on Sunday. And they have been finding their rhythm after that Game 1 loss. Stars trying to prevent that here as we have a lineup change for the Dallas Stars and for the Oilers as well. A lot of lineup changes in this game number 4 of the Western Conference Final. Connor Brown is out due to the hit by Petrovic in the last game, and Matthias Ekholm is still out for the Edmonton Oilers, but it seems like whenever, if ever this series is a 3-1 series lead or even series at 2, Ekholm will be back for Game 5 in Dallas. Arvidsson is in for Connor Brown. And the return of Rope Hintz for the Dallas Stars. Took that nasty slash by Darnell Nurse that should have been much more than it was. Took warm-ups in the last game, took warm-ups again, and he is in tonight as Dodonov comes out of the lineup. The top line now for the Dallas Stars. They've shifted some lines around, trying to generate some offense and trying to get some scoring going on the road. They have not scored much on the road. They've only scored 1 goal in the last 3 road games. They have been shut out 3 times on the road. And that is not a good sign for sure. And these road woes continue for the Dallas Stars if they don't get it fixed here. But if they do, there's an even series, and it goes back to Dallas for a Game 5, even at 2 apiece, and it becomes a best of 3 of the Western Conference Final to determine who plays in the Stanley Cup Final. We will see if the Dallas Stars have the response here or the Oilers dominate again like they did in Game 3, pardon me. And Stuart Skinner is one of the most streakiest goalies I have ever seen. He is 4-4, a .902 save percentage, but he has had several shutouts in this playoff year. And Pickard is now backing him up now, and he is 6-0 in the playoffs, and they're not even starting him. He is 6-0 in the playoffs, and they are not even starting Pickard. That's insane to just see a backup goaltender with that record and not even let him start. That's honestly insane. Referees for tonight, Chris Rooney. He took that nasty hit to by his face. He was bleeding around his eye. Got injured by a high stick in Game 7, officiating the Florida-Toronto Game 7 in Scotiabank Arena. And he is back in this one. Referee alongside Dan O'Rourke and the linesmen Ryan Gibbons and Ryan Daisy. And a huge opportunity for the Dallas Stars to try to get back in the series. The Oilers have another huge opportunity to take a command in the series to go back to the Stanley Cup Final for the 2nd year in a row. The Stars trying to prevent that there and try to even the series going home. It would be a best of 3 if they can't even up the series, and they need this win. It's not a must win. It's not like it's your season's over after this win. But going down 3-1 to the Oilers, most teams have not come back from 3-1 deficits, and that's a position that the Dallas Stars do not want to be in right now. The line change for the Dallas Stars. Robertson's on the top line with Hintz and Rantanen, and I guess now Pete DeBoer is finding this Robertson playing a little bit better. So he's on the top line. That second line stays the same. Marchment, Duchesne, and Sagan. They generate chances, but they need to finish. Statistically, they have been good with generating opportunities. They have not been able to finish, though. That is a problem, and they need to fix that soon. They need their depth scoring to start scoring here. Third line, Jamie Benn, Johnston, and Granlund. Granlund moves down to the third line and try to give Johnston and Benn a push, potentially. Then we got Beck, Steele, and Blackwell on the fourth. That was probably one of the best lines in Game 3 for the Dallas Stars. On the other hand, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman, that line was lethal in that last game. Hyman with 2 goals, McDavid with 2 goals, Nugent Hopkins with 3 assists. Podkolzin, Draisaitl, and Perry. Kane, Henrique, and Kapanen. Frederick, Janmark, and Arvidsson are your forward lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. And with the absence of Connor Brown, he is not playing tonight. And Victor Arvidsson is drawing back into the lineup for tonight's game for the Edmonton Oilers, as we will see what is in store for this one for sure. The Dallas Stars, a must-win here to try to even the series going back to Dallas for Game 5. The Oilers trying to take a command going on the road. The Stars' history, winning in 99. That potential no goal that counted against Buffalo. The Oilers' dynasty coming to an end in the 1990 year as they finally won for the first time since 1988, and that marked the end of that dynasty. They went to the Stanley Cup final last year, lost by 1 goal to Florida. They're both on a mission here, both Stanley Cup contenders here. The Oilers and the Stars, the 10th time they faced each other in franchise histories, and they have just met each other so much. The Stars are dominant in the series in that playoff matchups, but the Oilers have gotten an edge recently. The Stars trying to get that back for sure. As we give you live coverage on MHS, the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Western Conference Finals here in Rogers Place. An electric Rogers Place has filled to the brim, and they look to see a win, but the Stars trying to spoil the party in oil country to get it even going to Dallas. As the Oilers and the Stars face off in Game 4, and a loud crowd here for the
Chris Knobloch, the Edmonton.
As Sean McDonough just interrupted me. We are moments away from the anthems, and Mikko Rantanen, Robertson, and Hintz starting out here, I believe, for the Dallas Stars, the forward group.
Where Jamie Benn.
The Dallas Stars need a win here tonight. The Oilers, why does that give me Colorado vibes? They have a flag in Edmonton right now that's like a similar one they have in Colorado. And Dallas beat Colorado. Can they do the same to another speedy team? Heiskanen's out there with Lindell. And now to the anthems.
Starting lineups being introduced. The Edmonton.
And now, Oilers fans viewing at home across the hockey world. And here in Rogers Place, we ask you to please remain standing, remove your hats, and join the singing voice of your Edmonton Oilers, Robert Clark, in the performance of the American and Canadian national anthems.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
Doesn't matter how many times you're here for it, that is awesome every time. 18,000 plus singing in unison.
Welcome you back. Sorry, everybody. As game number 4 on Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta, the Stars trying to respond from that Game 3 loss. 9-7, Jake Ottinger, 906 save percentage. He's 1-2 in this series with a 842 save percentage and 4.02 goals against allowed in this series. Stuart Skinner's done well on his side of things with a 902 save percentage. He's 4-4 this series. In the last 5 games, he's 4-1 and 955 save percentage. The Stars have to beat Stuart Skinner. Can't believe that's something I'm saying. 1.18 goals allowed. And we're underway in Game 4. The Oilers and the Stars in Game 4 of the Western Conference Final. The Oilers trying to take a 3-1 series lead. The Stars trying to even the series up at 2 apiece. Going to Dallas for Game 5.